Hey, welcome to Cherie's World Podcast. I am Cherie Johnson, and my co-host is Mr. Courtney Blackman. Today, we've got a special guest on. Her name is Montrella Cowan, and I feel that we need her at this time. She is a relationship coach. She is not just a relationship coach, like she loves. She loves rejuvenating relationships, and she's here to talk to us not only about relationships, but also about her book, The Purse. And besides from the purse, she wants to talk about Black women's health, y'all. This lady lives in D.C., Chocolate City, and she is helping sisters get serious about their health. So without further ado, let's please welcome Miss Montrella Cowan.
The only podcast coming through your beat stereo is Cherie's World, so let's go around like a merry-go. Plug your phone in, make sure it got a full battery. Download it Wednesday, listen to it Saturday. She cover all topics, whatever you after. She got ball players, authors, doctors, actors, rappers, singers, entrepreneurs, divas, leaders. Androids or Apple, turn up your speakers. Trying to shoot my shot like the vaccine. Whether it's Cherie or Maxine, whether the podcast or acting, she that queen. PYT, you know what that mean. Saw you on TV and touch the screen. Touch on you, I plead Lucy's got a crush on you. It'll mean the world to get a blush from you. Teaspoon to me, leave you sleep like Robitussin do.
And I love the fact that it is 2021 and you love. We got a love coach in the house. Now, I've heard about life coaches. I've heard about love coaches and people who mentor relationships. I've never heard about rejuvenating love. And that definitely sparked my attention. Can you explain to us what a rejuvenation of love looks like?
Oh boy, it's like a revival. If you're familiar with the Baptist church.
Now that I know.
Yeah, so I'm actually a licensed therapist first. That's the way I've been trained. And a lot of times we as individuals, men and women, experience trauma. A lot of us have experienced that in our early childhood, actually, but we carry it into our relationships with us, all of that luggage. And so you start out in the honeymoon phase naturally, but after a while, it just really catches up with you and things start to manifest. And a lot of times partners try to be their partner's therapist and mom and everything else. And so here I am with practical tools that couples can use. And yes, we rejuvenate the relationship. So I've been known as the relationship rejuvenator.
I love that. Like, that's what sparked my attention. I was like, wait a minute. I ain't never really heard about this. Can you give me, like, let's say you've been with the same person for 20 years.
Yes.
Right? What can you do? What are like 5 things that you can do to remind that person how you even got to where you are today?
To remind them that how you have even got to where they are today?
Yeah, like, if I've been in a relationship with a man for 20 years.
Yes.
I mean, he obviously knows our history and stuff, but what are like 5 things that I can do that can just remind him of our why? And are not necessarily just who we are now, but who we were 20 years ago. Sure.
Well, for one thing, and this is for people who are dating or married or living together, or maybe baby mama, baby daddy, we keep it real. We tend to get really comfortable. And I think people have this idea, I guess, from, all the media and what have you, of the fairy tale. And we think we can get into a position and we get real comfortable and get into cruise control. Mm-hmm. But everyone knows, like the Denzel Washington and his wife, 30 plus years, and all of the other people who have been married for a long time, they will tell you that it takes work. A relationship takes work. So don't stop putting in the work. When we, in our business or in our jobs or careers, stop putting in the work, guess what? What happens? What happens, Cherie?
We lose it.
We get fired.
We lose it.
So I think that's one of the major things is to really, continue to put the work in. So that might look like, making sure you have date nights. Men, making sure you're giving your ladies compliments. We can never hear enough, women, making sure you let your brother know you need him and stuff like that. Okay. So that's very important. Yeah. So that's one major thing. You had something, Courtney?
Well, I was going to ask you, expand on that. Like me, I've been with my wife, for a very long time. Very long time.
Congratulations.
Can't remember how many years. But anyway, what do you say about like children? Like how children can sometimes get in the way. Like for instance, I got two boys and a girl, and I teach my sons to always protect, even though they real young, they can't do nothing yet. But I always teach them to protect their mom, right? Now it done kind of flipped on me because like we'll sit back and watch TV late at night.
Right.
Here come these motherfuckers walking down the stairs, talking about when you coming upstairs. Like look past me. Like I ain't got nothing to do with it. Like you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Love them to death, but they get in the way.
Absolutely. And that's why sometimes, the second tip I have actually is have a vision, because what happens is when the children consume us in that way, and I'm a mom. So first of all, I want to commend you, Courtney, for being that role model and father for your children. That is so important. And I'm glad to hear it's music to our ears, right, Cherie?
Yes.
That they want to protect their mom and things like that. So you've done a heck of a job. So now you're paying the consequences. But I think it's important to have a vision, because as the children get older, and they will, and they graduate and they get out and you're empty nesters, it's like, well, what's left? But as long as you have that vision and goals that you're always striving toward as a couple, you're going to be all right. So sometimes people come in after being together 20, 30 years, and they're thinking about separating. And so rejuvenation requires new goals, because just like on a bicycle, we can't stay stagnant. We got to keep moving forward, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Kobe Bryant, bless his heart, I see, you represented him in the back. He was a good example of a good husband and family man. And then we also have to just make time and nurture that relationship, which means it may mean getting a babysitter, if your oldest is not old enough to babysit. And that's just very important to put that investment in there of time, quality time. And knowing your love languages as a couple is also crucial, because when we have our own love language, and it may be different from our partners, we love that way. So if your love language is gifts, you might flower your wife with gifts. However, her love language might be quality time. Yeah. And so you want to make sure that y'all on the same page with that and honoring one another's love language. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I never heard of love language, honestly, until 2 years ago.
Okay.
Can you break down? Are you familiar, Courtney? My friend DeMarco was the first person who ever brought up, and he asked me, "What is your love language?" I said, "What you mean is English?" I didn't know what that meant.
No, I don't know what it means.
Can you explain us the different types of love language?
Sure. So one of them is quality time. And that's quality. I think that's a key word, is quality, because a lot of times, especially with all the gadgets that we have, right, and all the social media and just so many distractions, and the children even, we can be there like physically, and our minds can be miles away. And so you want to have that quality time doing things that you enjoy. One of the sort of areas that you want to focus on in a relationship is shared interests. We call it reality. This is usually what brought the couple together in the first place. So whether you met on a ski trip or at a restaurant, whatever you were doing at that time is something that you enjoy doing together. It could be movies or traveling. You want to make sure that you keep that in, but that's the quality time piece. Another one is, and this is a big one, words of affirmation. And it's quite interesting, Cherie, because like in therapy, people come, right? And of course, it's never their problem, right? He did this and she did this. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, a lot of times, what I say is, even for our children, and as a mom, I know this firsthand, and I'm sure you do too, Courtney, and I'm sure you do, Cherie, with your little one. Children don't do what we say.
They do what they see us do.
They do what we do. Same with adults. So if your love language is words of affirmation, and you want to hear, not just, you're doing a good job, but, I really appreciate you for such and such. I have a lot of forums where, I'm talking with couples, and it's so interesting because I may ask the woman, You know, what attracted to you? How did you know he was the one? And the men will be like, oh yeah, come on. I want to hear this. I never heard this before. You know, that words of affirmation is so important. So if that's your love language, the way you get more is to do it and practice it yourself. So that's the second one. A third one is gifts. And, you know, we like everything from shoes, the purses, the perfume. You know, I don't know what your style is and what your thing is. Cars, maybe, whatever it is for you, but literally gifts. Then there's acts of service. Honey, would you put the shelf together? Or maybe cooking dinner. So by the time I get home, I don't have to, right? And so those just thoughtful ideas. And there's one more. Do you know what it is, Courtney?
I don't. I just do.
Physical touch. Physical touch. Yeah, that's important.
Okay.
So that can, you know, be everything from holding hands, PDA, public display of affection, to intimacy, which is very, very important in relationships. And that's actually one of the number one indicators if a relationship is not doing well, if your love life is not doing well.
Okay. I saw that you like big on mental health, and and I read it that you said Charlemagne or Lil Wayne. I actually interviewed Charlemagne, and I was on tour with Lil Wayne. So
Nice.
Did you meet them, or you just have that in common with them? Because I didn't know Lil Wayne was big on mental health.
Oh yeah. So you were touring with them and didn't even know.
I mean, this is years ago. This is before he became Lil Wayne that we know now. This is before WeVF Baby. But I'm talking, this is a long time ago. So I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I didn't meet them yet.
Okay.
So, you know, if you have his number, you can send it my way. However, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I am part of the Taraji P. Henson's Foundation. You may or may not know her father suffered from mental health challenges. So she created a foundation. And so we provide discounted rate therapy to people in the Black community. But it's a beautiful thing because therapy, everybody's working to destigmatize therapy. There's a stigma. Yeah, Black folk. Yeah. You know, we don't tell people our business. Right? And all of that. And also, a lot of times we see reaching out for mental health specifically, as we see it as a sign of weakness and vulnerability. And then we can't ignore the facts, such as overdiagnosis, misdiagnosis, especially of, you know, males and female Black children. And so we're here to let you know you're not alone. So Lil Wayne, he just did an interview where he actually came out. He reached out and said he wanted to talk about it, mental health. And that's just so important that we hear those stories and understand that what you're going through, you know, you're not alone, and do not suffer in silence. So we're all about stopping the suffering in silence. And so when someone, you know, with such a great impression and, you know, a magnitude of followers is, you know, being honest about, I was like tripping. And, you know, this thing that's so special about Lil Wayne's story is that he shot himself that day at 12 when he thought that his music, his ability to go out and practice and do his music was threatened. His auntie said, your mother knows, and she's on her way home. And that's how we are. We're gifted, folks. Oh my goodness, so talented. And I have a lot of clients who are, you know, various levels. I got some NBA players and everything. And you can be at the high echelon or the lower echelon. But if you're struggling and people don't really get it, or they just tell you, snap out of it, that won't do it. That won't cut it. So yes, that's a big message for us. It's a movement. We even have an event called the Black Men Talk that we started this year. Yes. And it is power. It is so powerful because it's a safe space and the women are included. Everything we do is yin and yang. Got to have the men and the women. But it's so special. We always get such positive feedback because they've never had that space before where they can just be real and share. And the women, for once, we zip it up. We listen. We ask questions, it's a dialogue, but the men get to talk. And there's nothing more powerful instead of other people, especially from other communities, talking for our brothers.
I love that. I'm a huge advocate of Black men. I love Black men. And one of the reasons why I commend you is you do give Black men that safe place where it's okay to be vulnerable without being judged.
Yes.
My question for you is, because you do invite the women in as well, but they're not allowed to place judgment or blame or anything on those brothers while they're speaking. How do you control the room? Because Black women, like, I got a big mouth, but there's something about your space that Black women and men come in very respectfully, and they know that it's not a judgment. Says, how do you control that? Yeah. Because I got a family full of Black women that don't ever shut up. How do you get them to sit back and listen?
Yeah. That actually ties right into the third point when you asked about the 5 winning, tips for a healthy, great relationship would be communication. Communication is key. It doesn't just consist of the talking. So I, develop my communication skills. I teach communication skills. I have a 8-week course for single Black women to help them prepare for love. And we do drilling and real practical tools. And even with my couples and sessions, we work on communication. And so part of that is allowing the men to talk. And it's not always easy, but I think out of all of the sessions we've had for Black men talk, there was only like one young lady. She didn't know me and she didn't know, So, I don't agree with, I just politely, let her know and reminded her what this mission was about. And it's an opportunity for us to learn because we make a lot of assumptions. Cherie, as a woman, we hear what we want to hear. Mm-hmm. So when a brother think we doing booty call and you thinking, Mary,
he love me. He love me.
Hearing what we want to hear. He said it in the beginning. So it's just really, it's a training, it's a discipline. And but in the end, both the men and the women, they keep coming back. They love it. They invite other people because they're like, we need to have this all the time. We need more people here. And so it's really growing and expanding. We've had hundreds of attendees thus far.
So are you doing it virtually now, or?
Yes, it's virtual. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yep. The next one is September 16th.
Oh yeah. How do people get in touch with it to do it?
So the best way to get in touch, so you can register, and it's a free event. It's by my email address, which is Montrella at affinity411.com. You shoot me an email, I'll send you the registration link.
All right.
Beautiful. So let's talk about this 8-week course, right? For my single ladies, what does that course really look like? I heard it's a lot of internal work.
No, the truth is a lot of women struggle, Black women specifically struggle with, they're not struggling with their career. They're crushing it in their careers and other areas of life, family. We're givers, right? We just give and give and give. Sometimes we give so much until, our bodies break down and everything else, because it's like, hello, pour into yourself a little bit. There's a lot of uncertainty, in case you didn't know, Courtney. There's a lot of uncertainty and insecurity as it relates to relationships. And that usually stems from trauma, going back to trauma. The statistics when it comes to sexual abuse, for example, by, women as well as men have been sexually abused, that is going to play out in a relationship. Because what I like to remind people is that trauma will make you believe lies about yourself. Mm-hmm. So I myself was raped at the age of 14 years old by my daughter's father. And I had her at 15 years old. An event like that, an experience like that, well, first of all, I thought I betrayed both fathers. My father above and my biological dad, because I had a covenant with God that I would not have sex until I was married. And then I was violated. But when you walk away from such an experience, you think I'm unworthy. There's a lot of shame and guilt that dictate all the rest of the relationships. So I didn't even know what real good love, healthy love felt like, after that experience. And unfortunately, like many survivors of sexual assault, I actually kept trying to make it right. So I went back to the creep. And that's how I ended up getting pregnant. I was trying to make it right. Like, no, you know. But you also believe that you're not deserving. You believe that you're unlovable. And so those kinds of experiences, we're bringing them into our adult relationships. And the brother don't know. I mean, he could be a really good brother and we're sabotaging it. And then you do got the players, you know, that's real. Because a lot of men, and they say this on Black Men Talk, many of them haven't grown up with a father in the household. So they had to learn from scratch. The beauty is that they are learning from scratch. It was Tupac who said, we're a people who know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. And that is real. And so I'm here to revive and rejuvenate the idea, the concept that Black women can have love too. Not just our white counterparts and everybody else. We can crush it in our careers and we can have love too. So one of the things we do is we tap into that feminine power. Woo, spicy.
You know, I love the fact that you say feminine power because all women are not taught that. Yes. I noticed that is a big DC thing.
Okay.
Kelly Williams from Family Matters is the one that taught me power to pee. And she said, it don't mean giving it away, but it's just the power that you hold because you have one.
Yes.
And I was like, what you mean? She broke that down for me.
Yeah.
Women don't understand because a lot of us are not taught that.
Yeah.
Do you have a daughter?
I had a daughter. I actually lost her.
That's right. Your daughter. I'm so sorry to hear that. So your daughter was 25, right? When she passed away.
Yes.
From my deepest condolences.
From lupus. Yeah. Yes. So I didn't realize how much lupus affects Black women, especially.
My mother has it.
Okay. Yes. And so stress, mental health, directly related. So I'm glad to hear she's managing, your mom is managing it. You can live with it for a long time. But in my daughter's case, highly stressed.
Did you have a conversation with her? Because I have a daughter.
Yes.
How do I teach her the power of her one day womanhood? Like what? Because the conversation wasn't said to me as a child. It wasn't said to me from an elder. It was said to me from a peer. So that's why it came to me power to pee. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be able to teach it to my daughter in the proper sense. Yeah. What can I say to her? Courtney, you have a daughter too.
Yeah. Good. No, I love it. I think, Cherie, just be you. I mean, you are so powerful. This platform is so powerful. You're for the people. You're for upliftment. She's watching you. Stay beautiful, loving yourself, affirming yourself. She's watching. Let her do her girly thing with her purses and her lipstick. Or how old is she, by the way?
She's 7.
Oh, yeah. They getting into it at 7.
Yes. Yep, done.
Absolutely. So you just do you, be a role model and show her, and every opportunity you can, show her healthy relationships, you know, men and women, you know, because they're seeing a lot of stuff right now and it's causing a lot of confusion for our children. And so as they see the images, they know it's okay. Yeah.
Let me expand on that. So I got 2 boys and I've been making it a priority of myself to make sure that that they treat women, treat females better than we did growing up. I've been making it a priority.
Thank you.
But then I'm thinking to myself, when I was a teenager and even in my 20s, like girls didn't like the good guys. They didn't like the
That's not true.
I'm telling you what God loved. Women didn't like the nice guys. So it's like me and Cherie talked earlier. Do I just tell them the truth? You know what I'm saying? Like eventually, like maybe when they turn 27, 28, they'll appreciate the good guys. But you're going to have to go through the phase where that girl you like is going to be interested in the bad boy and the thugs and all that kind of stuff. So just do you. Like it's
That's not the one for them. That's all that is.
Every girl goes through that phase though.
Well, no. My first little boyfriend, I had 2 of them, and they were both extremely nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
Until the one wasn't, he turned into a player. And that's when I started liking the bad boys. I'm saying.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So should I tell them the truth? That
what is the truth?
If the nicer you are earlier, they're not gonna really appreciate. Nice guys finish last.
That's not true.
You're not gonna get appreciated until you're probably in your 30s.
That's not true. That's not the one for them. The nice girl who's looking for a nice guy will appreciate them always and will remember them 20, 30 years later. That's just my point of view. I don't know. Let me talk. Let the licensed therapist talk to you.
Well, the wonderful thing is they have an example of true love between you and your wife. So that is it. That's the best thing you can do. I would not instill that kind of, it's because it's an affirmation. Good guys finish last.
Yeah.
If you go into the world thinking that, that may carry over into their career, which I know you don't want them to finish last in their career and other things. So you can affirm them. I think that it's important that we let our children have experiences. Now, with my daughter, my children are 10 years apart for obvious reasons. I was a teenager, didn't know what the heck I was doing. At 27, I did. Right. But with my daughter, I held on really, really tight, really, really tight. With my son, he's 17, he's chilling in Florida right now. He goes to a boarding school. I'm in DC. He's way across the country. He's in Oregon. And he's been going away to school, private boarding school for years. And he's a mama's boy, sure enough. And I teach him to hold the doors and all of that. But I think we try to save our children from heartbreak, from mistakes.
Right. And
the truth is we're all here for a purpose. So God has an assignment for you, Courtney, which I can't fulfill, only you can. Right. And Cherie, obviously you got a purpose, sister, BFF. Can you be my new BFF?
Yes.
That's a side conversation. But I can't fulfill that for you. Only you can fulfill that. And it's the same with our children, Courtney. We got to kind of let them bump their knees a little bit.
Okay.
We just be here real solid for them. And they will learn. And that's all in preparation. Because if they look anything like their papa, they won't be all right. I'm going to tell you right now.
What papa?
He has a gorgeous family.
Not bad. I know. But that's natural. I'm hearing that parent, I hear it, the parental concern, and we want to save them. They got to bump their knee a little bit. We be there with the Band-Aid and the antibiotic, you know what I mean? Right. But they'll be all right. Yeah. So you want to affirm what they want to be. You want to help them, like my son, that Kobe Bryant, he's a LeBron James fan. And KD is his favorite player.
Attaboy.
I got to get that right. Yeah. Not KD. Oh my gosh. Westbrook. Oh no, he's going to kill me. Westbrook is his favorite player. Who was in Washington and now he's with LA. The whole thing. But he wants to be in the NBA.
Okay.
And guess what? We don't have a plan B. He's going to be in the NBA.
How tall is he?
Well, he's going to be, he's 6'3".
That's tall.
I'm like, eat and sleep, baby. Go ahead. At first I was like, you got to get up and do this. And I leave him alone. He's on break and he sleeps. But he's a really good young man. Academically, he's doing well. Yeah. And I see it for him, and if teachers get confused, I'm his mama. I'm this number 1 champion. I'm like, oh, he's going to be all right. And even if you have to go, internationally. It's all right.
I love it.
Plan A. So affirm what your young men want. Treat them like young men. Allow them to make decisions in the home now so that when they go off to college or wherever they're going, the first person that say, try this, which may not be that, a good thing. Mm-hmm. There may not even be a comeback for that thing. They know how to say no. They know how to stand in their leadership. If we're always correcting them, don't let them talk, don't give them a voice in the home, that's the training ground. So let them develop, man. They're going to be all right. Yeah, they may get their heartbreak. I can't promise you that you can save them from that, but they got you. Yeah. So the thing is, what lessons did you get out of that relationship?
Hey, you know what? You're pretty good at this thing. Do you do this for a living?
I do.
Making me feel good. Like, all right, I can do this. All right.
You know what, Courtney? I'm a fan of hers too, because I'm a certified nutritionist, and she's on a whole mission about getting our women together with their health. Can you talk a little bit about that whole mission, getting Chocolate City right?
And actually, it's all over. It's all over. Even our Black Men Talk, it's went international.
I love
it. But, health is holistic. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us do a really good job of taking care of ourselves physically. Even August is, wellness month. And, we have all of these different reminders in terms of physical fitness and health. But when it comes to the mental, you don't realize that mental health is health too. And the spiritual. And so when one is not doing well, so when one is mentally in turmoil, Cherie, we get obese. We carrying all that stress, diabetes, high cholesterol. I don't have to tell you, you're the nutritionist. So it will manifest itself physically. And so, I've seen where after working with someone, on a mental health level, that stomach ache or the migraines, they start to go away. And they start to take responsibility for their physical health too. So I love what you do again, sister. And thank you so much. It's very important. But it is a holistic thing, and one will impact the other.
Thank you so much. Can you expand? I wrote a blog recently about how we always detoxify our bodies, but we forget to detoxify our mind.
I love it.
And I just wrote it kind of from a novelist, nutritionist point of view, but as a therapist, can you talk about what it takes to detoxify your mind?
Oh my gosh, you my new BFF for real, sister. I love it. We're on the same page with that because that's real. A lot of people don't realize about that detox.
It's major.
They lose that weight, they reach that, what they call it, the
plateau.
Like, baby, you got the detox. It's the same with the mental health, and what I like to say is cut the mental junk food. The mental junk food is the constantly negative news and all of that other poison. And, you got to get smart as a therapist because you'll be like, how much news are you watching? Oh, I'm not. I forgot there's Twitter. There's all these other social media platforms where they're getting it constantly. And again, we have to start to have a vision for what we want for our lives, because if we watch the news, it's affirming we're victims. We're still really slaves. And too many of our ancestors have died. We have shoulders to stand on. They have created these opportunities for us. We were forbidden from reading. You wonder why, And so we have to start to tap into our own power, reclaim our legacy. We're made in God's image and we are powerful people. Nobody else can give that to us. We have to claim it. And so we definitely want to spill that into our children and let them know. Oh, yeah.
You are so right about that news. That news.
I'm sorry.
You're so right about the news and social media, like how they can just mentally drain you. I lived it. I lost friends, and it just it is exhausting. That detoxing of that stuff. Oh man.
Absolutely. We got to really, the mind, everything manifests twice. Everything. The blouse you have on, that microphone, everything, even Kobe and his skills, they started here and then they manifested physically. So we're constantly bombarded with, these visions of violence and, all kinds of stuff that's not affirming our best selves and our best lives, hopelessness and helplessness and loneliness, that suicide is the second leading cause of death for people 10 to 34 years old in this country, the land of the free. And that is because they don't know that there are therapists that good therapists are out here. So we're here to take that stand that you are not alone. And that there are good, culturally competent therapists like myself out here. And don't make money the excuse. We got money for what we want. So there's the Boris Henson Foundation, which will give you, free sessions. I mean, there's so EAP, employee assistance programs through your job. I mean, there's so many ways. You just pick up that phone and we'll take care of you and support you in that. But you have to detox the mental junk food. That's real.
You talked about suicide, right? And maybe it's because of social media that I am seeing a flux of suicide with our children.
Yes.
How do you teach children to, okay, so I grew up in a different time. You know what I'm saying? Nobody talked to us about a bully. You just punch a bully in the face and you keep it. But children now are taking bullying to heart, where we just kind of like brush it off with a grain of salt, but it's something serious to them.
Yeah.
How do you talk to your children about detoxifying your mind, even from like Roblox? You know, kids are getting bullied on like, I don't get it. Get on a different server, get off the computer. Why are you letting them bully you? But I have to speak with caution and thought. Yeah. They've actually called me several times to come speak on bullying. And I will say, I'm not the one.
Oh, wow.
Like, you need to get somebody else, because I don't even know how to approach the conversation differently than the bricks I was brought up in.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is real. For sure. And is one of the major causes of suicide as well amongst our young people. So with the mental junk food, just to tie that back to our children, well, they get it first. And as soon as you think you caught onto their IG, now they're doing Snapchat and whatever else. So we have to make sure we're monitoring their mental junk food intake as well. Yep. And then, Cherie, for any situation, no matter what anyone is going through, the secret sauce is to validate how they feel, how they think, and how they see it and believe it. Just validate it. And that's so hard. You know, as parents, we start to personalize, like if our child want to, threaten to commit suicide, we start thinking we're a bad parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But we're not. In fact, it's healthy that child is speaking out about it. That is a time to pick up the phone and call someone like me for help.
It is like I'm watching it on the news or on Twitter.
Yes.
We're losing so many young Black boys.
Yes, that's why we have to affirm how powerful they are. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I love Simone Biles for what she did. What a fine example of a young adult who said, no, real champions can say no.
Yeah.
Those are the real winners. Yeah. So I'm really proud. And those are, if they had more images like that and examples like that, because how many little girls going to be gymnasts?
Right. So many.
Oh yeah.
How do you stay so positive for yourself? Because this has to be exhausting, constantly helping other people, and then you taking in everything, the negative energy someone else might be going through. How do you shield that away from yourself so you don't take that in, so it don't affect you and you able to keep on?
Great question. And I actually get that a lot, especially, with the loss of my daughter. Yeah. I actually lost my daughter and my mother in the same year. First my mother in February around my birthday time, and then 4 months later, my daughter. And so one of the things I'm known for with my clients is really having wisdom from experience. And I can really relate. And that is the difference between a culturally competent therapist versus, another therapist that's not culturally competent. Having that, being able to relate. I also, Courtney, I'm answering your question. I also, as a way to give back to the community, at Affinity Health Affairs, we host interns. So I'm a field instructor. So I have partnerships with various schools across the country, including the local ones like Howard and Georgia Mason and all different kinds of schools, and Maryland University, everywhere. And I love it because, the interns coming in, they're so excited, but I'm a therapist by way of social work. And as you know, if you just think of social work, I know what you're thinking, child welfare, welfare buildings, overworked and underpaid. And so I teach them not to be burnt out. And one of the ways that you do that is you have to understand the concept of a full cup. You cannot pour from an empty cup. In other words, you can't ride on E.
Yeah.
You know how when you're in your car and that light is on.
You got about 40 miles. I've done it.
And that joint even doing a little skip. You're like, please let me get to that next exit, right? You ain't running too hot. But when you got that full tank, we ready to roll. Turn on the music, put some Jay-Z or something on, and we ride. So it's important that you pour into yourself. So I love books. I read. I'm spiritually grounded. I must celebrate my wins. That's so important. We will go and go and go and go and go, especially Black folks. And I see this, especially work with the interns, diverse interns. I see the difference. My intern, my supervisor, sure, she's flexible. And we over here doing a double time. Flexible, what? We scared we're going to lose our position. Yeah. We don't have, that kind of flexibility. And so we think we have, and we do. We have to be excellent. Any Black folk listening there, I'm here to tell you, we must do it over time. We must be excellent. We have to be above average. We can't get away with what, the majority population can get away with. But that's okay. Take pride, because our children are watching. You want to put a good work ethic in. You want to have a vision, get wealthy. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't be a poor martyr. But,
that's real. Wow. I'm over here just all in because I'm learning too. Mm-hmm. I do come from one of those families that want to pray it away. Mm-hmm. And, don't be weak. Don't talk about it. And I got a big mouth. I talk about everything. So I never was okay with being shunned.
Yes.
Or being, dumbed down and quiet. If there's a pervert in the room, I'm going to be the one at 5 years old and be like, this the one right here, But my family, I come from a family who's really good at pretending.
Yes.
I only act when I get paid. If I ain't getting paid,
love it.
How do you teach the others? Because I have cousins and stuff, and I'm always the cheerleader to find your voice. Yeah. Speak up. Yeah. I don't care what they tell you. Don't let them overtalk you. Yeah. You're supposed to be heard. Yeah. When you come from a family like that, where I won't say you're supposed to be seen and not heard, because my family is not like that, but you are supposed to pretend that everything's okay, even when the shit is on fire and everybody knows that it's not okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm the only one that's gonna say something. Mm-hmm. So how do I make sure that my daughter knows that I tell her all the time since she's been born, your voice is powerful. Your voice means something. Yeah. By speaking up, you can change your life and the world. But how do you really instill that? Yeah. And especially young little girls, young Black girls.
Yeah. So it goes back to what I was recommending earlier, like no matter how somebody feels or thinks or believes, take them for who they are and what they are, because that one that's quiet now, like a lot of people don't realize it, but I'm an introvert. They think I'm an extrovert because I speak, I do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But after this, for example, I'm going to go get some R&R. Yeah. But some of us are not, we're just observers, quiet observers. And I was like that in class. I went to Catholic University where I was the only Black person in my class. And, they were sleeping on me because I'm quiet, but I'm a writer. And so when the professor writes, please read in class, and then I read in class, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. So sometimes, first of all, we have to accept our family for who they are. And I got one, so I'm from Brooklyn, real colorful. And I don't play the therapist with my family. No, being a niece and a daughter and a sister, that's enough. When we accept people for who they are and then lead by example, Cherie, that is the only way. We're all not here to do the same thing. We're not here to be advocates. Some of us are going to be behind the scenes, right? Some of the biggest corporations, there's some people behind the scenes you never even heard of. They have the front man, but then there's some other stuff going on behind the scenes and some other people. And so if you start to let people know that they're okay, first of all, they're going to want to be around you. If every time I come around you, you making me feel wrong or bad for who I am, I don't want to be around you. I'm going to avoid you like the plague, like the coronavirus.
My aunties.
Yeah. So if you make them, you make them comfortable, you
avoid them like the plague.
Because they got something, they got a program for you.
You know your eyebrows is crooked. It could be anything.
Yeah. So, I think it's a lot to do with leadership as well, but that modeling by example is it. If you see an injustice or something, you have to speak on it, you do that. Sometimes that's going to be your role in that group or in the family. And that's okay. Like, be okay with that. You might have to ask them to support you in other ways, right? But everybody's just not going to be the outspoken, that type of person. And I do think it's changing. It's changing with your daughter. Like, I'm changing generational curses with my family. Yeah. And most of my clients are changing generational circuits, cycles. You want to educate yourself, and it's okay to get a therapist. We got young people asking for a therapist now. And so when I'm hearing it with my adult client, I'm like, yeah, please bring them in. Because first of all, I got some interns that would love the experience, but also really don't ignore that. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
No, I think it's very important. I've told my daughter from day one, it's okay to speak, and it doesn't always have to be mommy. Right. You're supposed to have your safe people that you can go to. Yeah. And if you ever need somebody else, let me know.
Sure.
And I think that's extreme. Like, my daughter is good at, since she was little, she has that little iPad and she's got her list of people that she can contact.
Wonderful.
She will tell me, Mom, I'd like to have a conversation with Uncle D without you. Okay, excuse me. But I think it's important that she knows that she has those people that she can go to.
Yes.
And they don't come back and tell me everything she said.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's powerful. That's creating those safe spaces. And I think T.D. Jakes said it best. He said, we're an emotional people. He said that, he doesn't do business with people he like. We try to bring in the family and friends, and they really can do us dirty to do us wrong. They may not be ready for those types of blessings.
Right.
T.D. Jakes says he do business with people who are effective. And I think as Black people, especially, we're so busy trying to lift up everybody else because we think that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be there for us. So our hearts are broken when we go to write that first book or be the first one to graduate with a college education. And your family, you look around and your family's not there. But you have to build your own tribe.
Yeah.
Make a little bit different from what you thought, but keep them. They're family. I mean, you're stuck with them anyway. So you keep them, but you also need to make sure that you're able to have that circle that can refuel your tank, lift you up, not jealous or competing and that kind of thing as well. So I love how your daughter is already building her tribe.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever she needs. And I would encourage that for sure.
And our family is not necessarily the people that were born with the same blood as us. She does Taekwondo. And so her grandmaster, you can't tell her that that's not her family. His family is her family. His wife is a pastor. Yeah. That's one of her safe people. And she will sit down and be like, Mrs. Miller, I had a hard day. Girl, you 4. What kind of hard day? But Mrs. Miller would sit there with her.
Yes.
And speak to her. So she done made her tribe, and it ain't got nothing to do with me or her blood or nothing.
That's beautiful. Bless you. Good mom.
Thank you.
My last question. How do you know I met a lot of people working with Cherie, but Toby, she's a beautiful person, nice person. How do you know her?
Yes. Toby, yes. Toby from Curated Brilliance. We actually met in California doing a training and creating our video pages, our websites a couple of years ago.
Can you say that again? Something happened on my end. I don't know.
Sure. We met in California while creating our videos for our home pages for our websites. Okay. We met in the studio. Yep. Wow. So we even got our headshots done, in that same studio and all of that. And when I found she was murdered, I was like, I live in DC. And so we stayed in touch. And since then, we've made some powerful collaborations. We met Vivica Fox together, for example. We've done a lot of work together. And she also supports, she's one of the people I consider on my tribe or my team when it comes to my business, in terms of supporting, getting the messaging out and all of that. So she's powerful.
Toby's our tribe too, girl. That's
good. Yeah. You know, oh yeah.
There would be no advice from my sisters without Miss Toby Brown. My books wouldn't come out. My daughter's book wouldn't be out. Like Toby.
Oh, your daughter got a book. Oh, I love it.
Yes, it's called Cucumbers Are Delicious.
Oh, I hear that.
Teaching our community how to eat healthy.
Oh, wonderful, dear. Look at you.
Yeah. I didn't do it. She did it. It was all her.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But yes, Miss Toby has facilitated everything.
Yeah.
Do you hear this? My daughter screaming. Okay, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a smart girl. I'm indebted to her because she taught me how to use my iPhone. I only use my iPhone for like 2 or 3 things. And she taught me how to do it. Like, oh, okay. All right. I didn't know I had this. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending this hour with us. Before we let you go, I have a few questions. If somebody wants to take that 8-week course for you single ladies, how do they find the course?
Single ladies, like Beyonce said. Yeah, we're going to put an end to that. So they can reach out again at my website, affinity411.com, or send me an email at Montrella@affinity411.com.
Amazing. And the purse, we didn't even get to the purse.
No, I mean, that means I have to come back, Cherie.
Hold on, no, you can't go real quick. We got to talk about the purse before.
And I got one more question for both of y'all too. So go ahead.
Okay. So yes, the purse, my best-selling book, my first best-selling book. I've had several now, but it's all about relationships, ladies and gentlemen. So the purse, an essential guide to healthy relationships, can be found on Amazon.com. And enjoy it. It's practical, as is my approach and my practice in life coaching. Always practical tools that you can use, just like you can use an umbrella for the rain. This is hooking you up for success.
Pick a number between 1 and 100. Don't say it out loud for a second. Okay, so what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do a contest. If you're trying to get your relationship right, if you're trying to learn more about yourself and you want a chance to win the book, The Purse, pick the number that she picked. Inbox Courtney and I. Whoever gets the closest, whoever gets the number is going to win the book.
Awesome. Absolutely. I'll be happy to send that out. Yeah.
Awesome.
I got one quick question for both of y'all. So we talked earlier about dating, and I think we might have talked about it on another podcast as well. But my uncle, his wife died last year, and he is tired of dating now. He said his goal at first was to get remarried, but he said, "Now I know Cherie was telling another lady, said if you're interested, please be able to pay your own rent and stuff like that." So my uncle is well off. He can take care of that kind of stuff. But the moment he starts dating, these women, I'm talking about the first day, if not the second day, is asking for money. And he ain't talking about like getting nails done and stuff. Like, he don't mind doing that. But he talking about rent and car notes and stuff. And this is just the second date. And he's so frustrated. He was just like, I ain't gonna say what he said, but anyway, like, what do you want to say? Huh?
Unc is going on frivolous dates. He's not looking for quality. He's not dating his equals. If she need a rent paid, he should have never went on that date. I mean, I'm not the therapist. Let me shut up.
Well, she don't. Well, that's the thing. These women don't necessarily need their rent paid, but they think that he's supposed to do that. Because that's one of the first ways he said. So if I don't pay your rent, what you go? Oh, I can pay it, but if you're interested in me, you will pay my rent or my mortgage.
They can't pay it. They looking for a sugar daddy.
Uncle should get in touch with me. I would start right there. He should get in touch with me. I help people all the time. I'm the relationship rejuvenator, remember? And also he should attend our free Black Men Talk to hear some other brothers and their experience, and he can share too.
Now, he older now, so he ain't gonna.
Yeah, no, we have the elders. Everybody come. Oh, I didn't mention that. It's multi-generational. It's a beautiful, special thing, man. Black Men Talk is for real. He would love it. Yeah, it would probably top some dates going on.
Say that again. They'll do what?
Top some of those dates he's going on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think Unc should call her not for a date, for some help.
He's in good hands. But I want to thank both of you, for the work that you're doing, for the parents that you are. I mean, you're powerful forces. So thank you for inviting me into your space tonight. This has been quite a powerful exchange and an honor and a pleasure on my part. So thank you very much.
Speaking about spicy, wait, Courtney, don't hit Senya. I know we got to let you go. But, I don't want to put nobody out there, okay? So I got some homegirls and I got some homeboys. Mm-hmm. And I be listening to these conversations.
Yes.
Women are complaining. And I hear men who've been with their wives for maybe 20, 25, 30 years. We starting to get up there in some age.
Sure.
Their sex ain't the same as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is they're starting to treat their women like their grandmas or something. They're starting to respect them more in the bed. Mm-hmm. And these women don't want to be respected. Right? I know, right. They grown women. And one of them kind of put it on a husband a little bit too much. And he was like, where did you get that from? She's like, I'm in my prime, boo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When we met, you were in your prime.
I know that's right.
And now I'm in my prime.
Yeah.
But he's feeling insecure about it. And he said, you're my wife and I love you.
Okay.
I don't want to feel like I paid for it. Okay. She was like, you've been paying for that?
He done beautiful.
What is going on with these men, and why are they all of a sudden trying to respect their wives in a different type of way? Or what can a woman do to let their husband know you can get that at home, you ain't got to pay for it?
I love it. Yeah, I think the healthiest relationships also include a healthy sex life. That's very, very important. I think it goes back to what you do, Cherie. One of the things you do is that nutrition. Keep that sea moss, brothers. That's
what's sea moss? I heard of sea moss for for COVID. That's what my sister told me.
Oh yes.
It has over 130 different minerals that we need. But what I can tell you is from a sea moss taker. My cousin makes it.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I get it from my cousin. She ships everywhere. Okay. I can give you guys the website.
Please. Yes, please.
But my body is not the same as it used to be. I'm 45 years old.
Okay.
I'm tired. But when I take my sea moss on a daily basis, it's the best energy drink you could ever have.
Absolutely.
I'm sleeping better at night.
Yes.
My libido is on point. But I have energy.
Yes.
Where before I was kind of walking through life a little lethargic.
Right.
Honestly.
Sea moss. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, sea moss. Sea moss is the boss. Yeah, that's why in Jamaica and the Caribbean, they take the sea moss for sure. So that is definitely one. And practicing tantra. You ain't got to come all the time.
Practicing what?
Right. Help them out, please. They don't understand that.
What she say? She said practicing what?
Tantra.
Yeah.
Now what's that?
That's when you don't ejaculate. We going into this must be part 2.
I'm sorry. Some men really don't. It's okay to have sex and not.
Yeah, not ejaculate. Yeah.
For who?
You know what I'm saying?
Your wife.
For who not to come? Because I know if she don't come, I'm getting cussed out.
Well, no, you.
And
You're supposed to make sure she does, but it's
okay. So why she get to come, but I don't get the ejaculate? You just said. Wait, now what we doing?
Yeah.
Come on, Courtney. Do I really?
It's like delayed
gratification. You need to explain. Yes,
it's delayed gratification.
It's a who?
Delayed gratification.
But you just so I can still come, just not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe round 2, or maybe if you don't know how to hold it, you got to go in the bathroom before round 1 starts.
Okay. Heard across the world. Welcome to Cherie's world. Heard across the world. Welcome to Cherie's world. Representing for every girl. Welcome to Cherie's world. Representing for every girl. Welcome to Cherie's world.